Hello and welcome back to Crypto Novus, where newbies become masters. My name is Chris Brown and I'm the host of the channel, and I'm excited to be back to do another price prediction for you on Bitcoin Cash. So far, the community has been very receptive to the price predictions I've done in the past and how I do them. I've got a lot of great comments, not always in favor of what I'm saying, but really good, solid comments, and I've tried to do my best to respond. So this is great, and I'm excited to do another one for you. But first, I want to talk about Swan. I'm an affiliate marketer of Swan. And if you're looking for one of the least expensive ways to buy Bitcoin and do dollar cost averaging, I would highly recommend that you go take a look at Swan. As always, this video is not to be perceived as crypto investment advice because I am not an investment advisor. Again, always do your own research, figure out the risks that are involved in investing into whatever assets you want to invest into. Understand those risks and make the best decision you can for you and your family and your investment goals. I always like to put up this slide, and this tells you there are 12 different price influencers for any crypto asset. In these videos, I try to cover 5 of the 12, which means there are 7 remaining, and that's why it's important for you to do your own research. Okay, let's hit Bitcoin Cash basics. First off, this is a digital currency. Since 2017, there's been some exciting advancements for Bitcoin Cash. In 2017, Bitcoin Cash was a hard fork from Bitcoin. In 2018, Bitcoin SV was a hard fork from Bitcoin Cash. There has been more business adoption. The Bitcoin Cash community has done greater adoption and promotion of the asset, and GrayScale has a Bitcoin Cash trust fund. So let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. Bottom line is Bitcoin was big, heavy, and clunky as digital cash. So there was a split within the Bitcoin community to come up with an asset that acted more like digital money, which means it was more scalable. So there was this hard fork of Bitcoin Cash, which handled that scalability issue. Therefore, it's faster and cheaper to use, can carry larger block size, and has a couple other features that Bitcoin doesn't have that makes it more usable. So the number of coins that Bitcoin Cash has is exactly the same as Bitcoin. There's 21 million in the supply, which is good. You can see here the different block sizes, the transaction speeds. It works off of a proof of work consensus mechanism as well. The important fact is presently, right now, there are 18.6 million Bitcoin Cash coins in circulation, which is about 89% of the total supply. Now, as I mentioned before, they're different, so they don't function quite the same. What happens is when Bitcoin does its rises, Bitcoin Cash doesn't quite rise the same way. It tends to follow it in terms of price action. So when Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin Cash tends to go up, and when Bitcoin comes down, Bitcoin Cash tends to come down. But in terms of how the percentage of increase, we don't see quite the same. Bitcoin Cash will, in fact, spike, like back in the beginning of 2020, there was this sharp spike, which we'll talk about later, but then it kind of flattened off for the year. So this is important information to kind of understand as you're looking at this asset to invest in. So let's take a look at the 2020 successes. The next 2 maps I'm going to show you I found impressive. I mean, this one right here basically is where all of the Bitcoin businesses, where all of the businesses that accept Bitcoin Cash are located. You can type in a location, and you can anywhere in the world, and you can then find a business that would accept Bitcoin Cash. As you can see on this map, the concentration heavily is in North America, with being the United States and Canada. The next largest place would wind up being in Europe. But it's nicely scattered throughout the globe in terms of where Bitcoin Cash is presently accepted by businesses. This next one talks about where you can find an ATM machine that actually where you can get Bitcoin Cash as a retail investor. Again, the United States, heavy concentration, highly focused on the East Coast. But then again, your main part of Europe and England is the next largest location. And then from there on, it kind of scatters throughout the globe. As I mentioned, the Bitcoin Cash community is really supportive of this asset and have really strongly pushed it. There's a gentleman by the name of George Donnelly, which started Bitcoin Cash site. It's a website which is helping people adopt. He has a goal of onboarding 1 million new Bitcoin Cash users by the end of this year. And I'm talking to him right now about possibly getting an interview with him and putting him on the channel so we can learn more about what he and the rest of the Bitcoin Cash community is trying to do to increase mass adoption of this asset. One of the things that I found really impressive is GrayScale and the fact that GrayScale chose to create a trust fund for Bitcoin Cash. You can kind of see here the statistics on this fund. The assets under management is around $160.3 million. You can see the share breakdown and actually the price per share when it comes to Bitcoin. And if GrayScale is making the choice to invest in this asset, you can see their total list there. They've included Bitcoin Cash. So that says that Bitcoin Cash has some value within the larger context of investing and in terms of even a store of value. So let's take a look at price predictions. Right now, Bitcoin Cash is ranked number 11th in total market cap. This is the slide that I typically use for the value of Bitcoin in my calculation. Now, this is a slide that shows the value of Bitcoin Cash in terms of US dollars and in terms of BTC. And what I want you to notice here is next to arrow 1 was when Bitcoin Cash had peaked back in 2017. And just look at the disparity between the top price in terms of USD versus its price to Bitcoin Cash. Take a look at it now today at arrow number 2. There is a disparity. And the value of that is, if you notice, most of the length on the curves, we can see that there is a closer relationship between the value of Bitcoin Cash relative to Bitcoin and then its value in terms of US dollars. And that's going to influence a little bit of my prediction. And what it says to me is this, is that right now there's a huge disparity between USD value and BTC. And there's some area of movement there where it can increase in its value relative to Bitcoin. It still remains to be seen, but there is a possibility there that we need to take note. So let's see what it did. Back in 2017, the circulation supply was a little over 16.8 million coins, which was 80% of the total maximum supply. Market cap was, a little over $68.6 billion. The market dominance at that time was high. It was 10.7%. When it reached its all-time price of $4,355 relative to Bitcoin, it was at 24%. So these are very, very large numbers. It has never come back to this place, and we'll see where it's at today. Presently, the circulation supply is 18.6 million, which is 89% of the maximum supply. Its market cap is, $10.2 billion. Its market dominance right now is only 0.6%, 0.6%. Its asking price right now is at $548. To reach its previous all-time high, it would need to do a 7.9x. Its price relative to Bitcoin is only 1%. So see the variation between where it was back in 2017 versus now. A large part of it has to do with the market competition is steeper. There are a lot more products on the market, and therefore there are a lot of other assets that have taken these slots and actually have superseded Bitcoin Cash. Looking at last year, it started 2020 at a price of $204. Its year high last year was actually $491, which occurred in the beginning of the year. I believe it was in February, which means it saw 2.4x growth from its the start of the year to its year high. This year, in 2021, it started at a price of $341. Its year high so far has been around $707, which means it's already experienced a 2.1x growth for this year. So let's go see what could possibly happen between now and the end of the year. So again, scenario 1 is assuming a Bitcoin price of $146,000. If I assume that that Bitcoin Cash will be only 1% of that. That puts a Bitcoin Cash price of $1,460 from its present location. That's a 2.7x growth. I think that's a very safe number of growth. I very much feel that a $1,400, $1,500 Bitcoin Cash price is easily achievable. But let's take a look at the total crypto market and its market dominance. So if the total crypto market cap gets to 3.3 trillion, and if it stays at the present location in market dominance at 0.6%, that puts us at a Bitcoin Cash price of $1,000.60 or a 1.9x. In my personal opinion, that's too low. So let's take a look at scenario number 2. If Bitcoin reaches $276,000, I have adjusted the numbers a little bit. Remember in previous slide, I talked about this variance between USD value versus BTC value. And I believe that there's going to be some kind of an increase or a decrease of that gap between those two numbers. So essentially what I did is I said, let's make the assumption that relative to Bitcoin, that the price actually increases by 2.5%. So it goes from 1% to 2.5%. If that is the case, we're looking at a Bitcoin Cash price of $6,900 or 12.6x. Some may say that's a little aggressive and too high. Maybe. In terms of relative percentage to Bitcoin, it's still small from where it has been in the past. Let's take a look at crypto market cap total. So if the total crypto market cap got to 7.7 trillion, and again, I just simply multiply the market dominance from where it is today times 2.5, that gets me to 1.5%, or a Bitcoin Cash price of 6,183 or an 11.3x. I got a feeling that that may be closer to what reality actually is. So let's take a look at the final numbers. The range of Bitcoin Cash, I think, in 2021 is going to be somewhere between $1,060 and $6,900. I simply did and that's a pretty wide range. So I did an average, and of course it came down to $3,980, and that figure right there seems very probable to me. If you take the price of where it's at right now at around $548, that's a 7.2x from its present location. So here are my final thoughts. I like the fact that this has a fixed supply of tokens. That always handles the token inflation problem. And the fact that Bitcoin Cash is at 89% now, by the time the next halving cycle completes, I think all of the Bitcoin Cash tokens will be in circulation. This is in fact digital money. There's no question about that, but it will always be second to BTC. I think it has a strong community, and that community is really pushing for adoption. So there will be a segment of the global population which will use Bitcoin Cash as a form of digital money to transfer value. So I hope that this video was informative to you. I hope you got another nugget out of it. As always, please leave me comments and I will do my very best to respond. In fact, I enjoy responding to them. If in fact you like this video, hit the like button. And by all means, subscribe and become a part of the Crypto Novus community. Again, my name is Chris Brown. I'm the host of the channel. This is Crypto Novus, where newbies become masters. And I will see you guys in the next video.